Okay. So we're going to continue from chapter 5, verse 13. Sarvakarmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. Translation. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of nine gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done. Okay, so embodied living being means the Atma which is embodied, which means that which is living in a body. And the Atma living in a body controls his nature. So here Krishna is talking about our Swabhava, our nature that we have acquired with birth. So controls his nature. Normally, people are of the opinion that whatever nature one has acquired at the time of birth cannot be changed. But here Krishna is saying he controls his nature. That means that there is possibility of controlling and then changing also. Because if we can control, then we can change. Controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions. Mentally renounces all actions means though he is actually involved, he is detached from the results, as in he's not attached to the results. So if one lives like this, in this way, how? Controlling his nature and mentally renouncing all actions, then he resides happily in the city of nine gates. That means that he lives happily in this material body, neither working nor causing work to be done, because even though one is working, if one is not attached to the results of the activities, then he is literally not working, because working or not working, the difference is the karma phala. So whenever any work is done, there is karma phala. But when one is detached to the results, detached with the results, then he actually is not working, even though he is working. So this is the beauty about Bhagavad Gita. How it clearly explains that it's not the work that actually binds us; it is the attachment to the result that binds us. So one has to control one's nature and mentally renounce all actions, which means that not be attached to the results, and then one can be happy. So this we discussed also in the previous verses, saying how by having expectations in this material world, one becomes very unhappy. Because when we have expectations don't meet, then we are unhappy. But when one works just as a matter of duty, without any expectations in terms of results, he actually resides very happily, because he's not looking forward to something. Okay, I did this work, so I have to get this. So he is not looking forward to any result. And so he's happy with his work. If he's sincerely working, then he's happy. But most people, unfortunately, are always work with the expectation of results. So they're always looking forward to something like, no, okay, I'm going to get a promotion. Oh, I'm going to get an increment. Oh, my, some appreciation for the work that I've done. So people don't work for their own satisfaction. They work for somebody else's satisfaction, because they are looking for results. And such people cannot be happy. When we are working for benefit, for getting something out of our work, then we are trying to satisfy or somebody else, then one cannot be happy. So Krishna is saying here that living being should control his nature and mentally renounce all actions, and then he will reside happily, and also in parallel not be working, not causing any work to be done. Okay, so the purport, the embodied soul lives in the city of nine gates. Okay, so the body is a city of nine gates. The activities of the body, or the figurative city of the body, are conducted automatically by its particular modes of nature. So this also we have understood, saying that actually we as the Atma, we are not doing anything. We are desiring what needs to be done, and the body is actually enacting it. Body is controlled by the modes. So Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, and Tamo Guna, three modes. This is what we call as nature. Um, so we will read in more detail about the modes in later chapter 16, 17, 18 chapters. We'll read in detail. But everybody has a nature. It can be either Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, or Tamo Guna, or a combination. Right. So the activities of the body are conducted by the modes, which means that if you are in Sattva Guna, then the way we think, the way we act, everything is controlled by Sattva Guna. If we are in Rajoguna, then our activities are controlled by Rajoguna, and so on. The soul, although subjecting himself to the conditions of the body, the soul, although subjecting himself to the conditions of the body, can go beyond those conditions if he so desires. So this is very, very important to understand. Okay, so as spirit soul, we actually don't belong to this material world. We are foreign to this material world. This material world is a jail. We are here for rectification. Now, the soul is subjecting himself to the conditions of the body, because the body, like we have discussed this multiple times, we are not the body, we are spirit soul. The body is just a vehicle. Okay. Um, but the soul is subjecting himself to the conditions of the body. What does this subjecting himself mean? So, for example, say if there's a vehicle, and then we are subjecting ourselves to the condition of the vehicle. Say, for example, there's a puncture, then we almost feel like, I mean, it's happened to us only. Like we feel so affected by it. If there's a scratch on the car, then we feel like, oh, this shouldn't have happened, and we are, worrying about it. So this is, we as the owners of the vehicle are subjecting ourselves to the conditions of the vehicle. If the condition of the vehicle is good, then we are happy. If the condition of the vehicle is not good, is affected, we are unhappy. So similarly, the soul, though it has nothing to do, I mean, in this case also, actually, we don't have much to do with the vehicle except for the attachment we have for that vehicle, right? Because, I mean, literally, if there's a scratch on the vehicle, there's nothing happening to us. But because we are so attached to the vehicle that we almost think like it's happened to us. So similarly, the soul, even though it has nothing to do with this body, the body is just like a vehicle that is given to the soul. It is subjecting himself to the conditions of the body. So the body is having problems, then the soul is feeling sad. If the body is having experience happy, and soul is happy. But what Prabhupada is saying here is, but the soul can be beyond those conditions. But the important part is if he so desires. Once, like Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj, my Guru Maharaj, so he said, saying that, sometime many years back, he was in Delhi and he had a ingrown ingrown toenail. So it's like the toenail grows into the skin, right? Like, and it's very painful. And then at that point of time, because I mean, normally brahmacharis, they don't go to some private hospital and all that. So he just went to the government hospital, and there was a doctor, and the doctor said, okay, we have to remove your nail. Okay, fine. Then Maharaj was thinking that at that time he was Ilapati Das, he was Prabhu. So he was thinking, okay, they're going to give some local anesthesia and then take it out painlessly. And then this person at the government hospital he said, no, no anesthesia. We're going to just pull it out. I mean, the ingrown nail is itself so painful. And now he has to, I mean, get it done without anesthesia. And at that time he was saying that, the pain was so excruciating that he had to tell himself, saying that he is not the body, because if he had associated himself with the pain, he would have possibly just collapsed because of the extreme pain. So he said, then it was like a test. So of whatever we've read in Bhagavad Gita. So he said, no, it's not my body, it's not me, it's just my body. I mean, it's just a vehicle. there's some pain happening to the body, it's okay. It doesn't matter. Nothing happens to me. So he desired to become detached from the pain, and he was able to deal with it. And subsequently, he got it bandaged and he walked back to the temple. He says that, like it's if we desire, first of all, we have to know and accept saying that I'm not this body. Then we should desire to go beyond these conditions, which means that I'm not affected by these conditions. This is just, like I keep saying, right? It's like in a dream. In a dream, if suppose Prabhupada gives this famous example of, us being some, tiger attacking us, or, you know, we being followed by a tiger or something, right? Like some scary thing. And then we are shouting, "Oh, please help, please help, please help." And so when somebody wakes us up from the sleep and says, "What happened?" "Oh, nothing. It was just a dream." So like that, this body is just a dream in the sense that literally, I mean, because it's just a bag of muscle, chemicals. Body is just a bag of chemicals. Right now, the feeling of pain and pleasure that we are experiencing is not because of the body itself. Because after death, it's the same body, all the organs are there, all tissues are there, everything is there, but there's no pain. So the one who is experiencing the pain, as in we are experiencing the pain of the body because of the soul, and because the soul is thinking that I'm this body, or I'm affected by the conditions of the body. So the other way of looking at it is, suppose for whatever reason, say a neighbor's something got stolen. Now we don't really feel so much for neighbors, some stuff getting stolen. uh, so I mean, it's like that because it doesn't belong to us. We are not attached to it, so we are not affected, right? So we should understand that this body is also just, I mean, it's just been given to me. It's like a vehicle. Suppose say you take a vehicle on rent. You are engaged with it till you then leave the vehicle back at the shop, and then you're done. I mean, there's no attachment. Similarly, this is very, very important, because actually we subject ourselves to this pain and pleasure because we so attached to the body. We're so attached to the body. Practically, of course, before coming to Krishna consciousness, we think that we are the body. After coming to Krishna consciousness, like a million times we would have been told saying that we are not the body, we are spirit soul, but we just cannot come to accept this fact wholeheartedly. So even though we are told a zillion times, we still think like we are the body. Right. So anyway, so if you have any questions, we can discuss, because this is very, very important. For the whole of first 6 chapters, this is the heart of the subject, right? That we are not the body. And Prabhupada actually very beautifully summarizes our position by saying, we subject ourselves to the conditions of the body, but if we so desire, we can go beyond, as in we can raise above these conditions of the body and not be affected by the body, if we so desire. So the key there is our wanting to go beyond the body. So anybody has any questions?
Yeah, bro. One question might be arise that if that is the case, that soul doesn't have to identify with this body, then some question might come that again, why God has given this tight bonding between the soul and the body, right?
Because
So
we wanted
one, so some, I mean, so one reason is that we did not want to stay with God, right, and wanted a independent identity.
yes,
So that is one thing, but why? So an independent entity can still be
not
given.
independent entity, not independent entity. We wanted to enjoy independent of Krishna, right? We wanted to enjoy independent of Krishna. We cannot become independent because as a soul we are part and parcel of Krishna, but we wanted to enjoy independent of him. So
Yeah,
because we wanted to enjoy independent of him, then unfortunately that's not going to happen. Um,
yeah. So
no,
the analytical, so the analytical understanding of that is that since everything which is spiritual by nature is actually non-different from him, and it is only the material world which coming from Mahat Tattva that can be treated something which is outside his purview, right? At least from the internal potency, and hence we get bonded. I mean, just wanted to clearly understand that.
no, that's not the reason. See, we should understand this. See, the reason why we are bound here is because we want, we have chosen, or we want to be independent of Krishna. Okay, we don't want Krishna to be interfering with us. We are hoping, and we have been trying this for millions of lifetimes, to try and find enjoyment independent of Krishna. That means that we are trying to find enjoyment in this material world. And whenever we try to find enjoyment in this material world, we get sadness, we get unhappiness, because that is the nature of this material world. Dukhalayama shashvatam. So, um, so now, but how do I come and stay in this material world? Because see, actually, can you separate out, like water from water? You can't separate water from water, right? Now, for you to separate water from water, you have to put that water that you want to separate into another glass.
Yeah.
You have to put him into another glass, because if the water remains with that water, you cannot differentiate, right?
Mm.
So in the sense that we had to get some kind of encasement, like some
Yeah.
kind of cage, right, or some kind of body, so to speak, right? Now this body had to be of such a nature that it should not remind us, because it is our nature that we are part and parcel of Krishna. Nature, like, sugar is sweet, it is nature. If you want to change it, you can't just change it, right? Like, so you have to force it, you have to put it into such a condition that it cannot even think that it is sweet, right? So which means that as soul we had to be put into some very weird situation where we cannot even relate to ourselves being part and parcel of Krishna, which means that it's such a foreign illusory state that we cannot really we cannot remember. We cannot just remember that, saying that we should not be able to remember that I am part and parcel of Krishna, because if I remember that I am part and parcel of Krishna, then I cannot stay here,
Yeah.
right? So the body is designed. So the first thing that happens when material creation happens is the false ego. The false ego is the connection between this material world and the spiritual world. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the false ego is basically telling that the soul, which is spiritual, is now thinking that I am material. That is this subjecting to the conditions of the body. So because of this false ego, the soul is now attached to the body and thinks that it is the body, or the body is very dear to it, or basically just forgets that it is the soul,
Yeah.
right?
So, I mean,
So
it's like a virtual world where soul tries to think that, okay, now I'm independent and I am responsible for my own actions, and probably it has nothing to do with Krishna or God. And that's how
yeah,
people go atheistic and they
correct.
go and do that. Yeah, I think now that makes sense. Yeah.
So the whole point is, because the soul wanted to enjoy independent of Krishna, it is put into this situation, into this thing called material body, which gives it that experience. This body is designed to give that experience to the soul, that you are independent, that you
Yeah,
can
and
do
I
whatever.
think this also clearly explains that the propensity of attachment is actually the binding force, not the work, because work is actually
Yeah.
something which is virtual, which is created just as a, you can say, mock test, right? And ultimately, it is the soul's desire that, okay, I want to get happy with doing this work, which is not related anything to Krishna. Then probably that is a proof that soul need to continue in this world for some more time. And it is only when soul becomes neutral to this external environment, which is material world, then basically soul gets an eligibility to go from here to spiritual world. Is that correct understanding?
I mean, yeah, it's too abstract, I guess, for many people to understand. So just to simplify, so the idea is that um, till we are attached to this material world, we can't go back, because till we are attached to this material world, we want to be here. Simple.
Hmm.
Simple language. If we are attached to something, we want to be associated with it, right? So if we are attached to this material world, this material body, etc., we want to remain here,
Yeah.
because we are not attached to Krishna. So
Correct.
it's very simple that the body is created in such a way that I remain attached to this body. I remain attached to things connected to this body in the sense of me and mine. And I'm happy in that, right? Even whether there is distress, there is suffering, it doesn't matter. I'm happy in that, right? And
Hmm.
because I'm happy in this, and I'm, attached to whatever is happening connected to my body, I'm happy, and I continue to exist here. So the body is designed in such a way that it's very difficult for us to want to leave it, right? So that is the whole thing. So till we realizing, no, 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 this is not, this is nothing. I mean, it doesn't, it's really just a temporary vehicle that I have. I don't have to be, I shouldn't be so attached to it. Now, this is the knowledge that we have to get, and then the soul has to start for working on that platform, saying that, oh, okay, okay, I am not this body. I am soul, I'm separate from this body. I've just been in this illusion saying that I'm this body, right? And till we get established in that situation, which is possible only when we engage in devotional service. Because when we engage in devotional service, we understand, oh, okay, okay, this is giving me happiness. Oh, devotional service is giving me happiness. How come none of my other activities are giving me happiness? Because they are connected to the body. Oh, activities of devotional service are connected to the soul. This is making me really happy. So which means that this is what I want. So then we are slowly okay saying, okay, then looks like I am different from the body. My activities are different. My enjoyment is different. Then we start getting slowly disconnected, detached from the body. But and without engaging in devotional service, this detachment with the body will not happen. So only
Yeah.
when we intensely engage in devotional service, because even if we do time pass devotional service, the attachment continues. So unless if we do Tivra Bhakti, only if we do Tivra Bhakti, intense devotion, that we become so much attached to Krishna that this, because like I said, this bonding with the body is very, very strong. If you have to cut out of it, then you have to be given like jolt, like shock. That shock treatment is devotional service. When we engage in devotional service, it pulls us away, like forcefully it pulls us away from this attachment of the body. Then we realize, oh, I was in such an illusion. So without devotional service, it is not possible. By just knowledge, it is not possible. By simply knowing that I'm this body, I'm not spirit soul, I cannot do anything because I don't have the power to get out of it. The power to really detach myself from this body is devotional service.
Yeah.
I mean, I want everybody to focus on this desire business. So
Yeah.
what is the key takeaway? That we should desire get out of this attachment. We should desire to that I don't want, I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul, I don't want to be subjected to the conditions. I should desire it as a soul. And if I desire it as a soul, then it will slowly steadily convert into action. If I don't desire it, then I will continue to be stuck, to be subject to the conditions of the body.
Yeah. Clear, no problem. Thank you.
Okay. uh, Others, any questions? Is it clear? Is it too abstract? Is it too complex? There's nobody saying anything, then I'm worried. Yes, no, all right. Arnath Prabhu, Gaurav Prabhu, Amit Prabhu, Madhusmita Mata ji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah,
Dhanva Pranam.
Arnath Prabhu.
Prabhuji, as you said that only devotional service is the medium through which we can, soul and body can be detached.
Mm-hmm.
That feeling can be detached that and the body. So
Mm-hmm.
if I will say that from so many years, so many devotees are into devotional service.
Mm-hmm.
So can we say that they are on the platform that uh, they can think that they are not the body, and
Yeah, like I said, it is how we engage
can
in
it be
devotions.
done in one lifetime or
Absolutely, absolutely, it can be done. So it totally depends on the intensity of our bhakti. So if, like I said, if we are just yeah. See, many times, like this desire. I mean, I want to highlight again this word desire, right? People still desire material things. They're trying to, even though they're devotees, they're chanting, etc. They still want happiness from things belonging to this material world. And if that is what their mindset is, how can they achieve this state of detachment? Because they still seem to be somewhat attached to the body. right? So unless we understand very clearly, and why this happens, because see, generally, if things are all going fine, everything is fine, okay, there's paisa, there's health, there is wealth, there is good relations, everything going fine. Even if you're devotees, we somewhat, like something back of our mind saying, aha, things are fine, like what is the problem? Why do I have to get detached? So that is the reason, only when people, when go through difficulties in life, they can actually understand, saying that, oh my god, I mean, this is painful, body is really a source of trouble. Till we undergo that kind of suffering, we cannot understand this, because we just think like, nah, it's okay, it's for him, I am like, raised above, I'm above all this. But when we are actually hit by the cyclone, only then we understand. So till that time, people don't understand. And fortunately or unfortunately, if they are living a very good life because of whatever reason, then they might not really be seriously desiring to disconnect themselves from this attachment of the body. So then they will not achieve it. That is why this desire is so important. Whether we are experiencing the sufferings of the body, whether we are not, it doesn't matter. We should understand theoretically this is first class intelligence. First class intelligence is not to wait for experiencing everything. First class intelligence is just when we accept something by just hearing. Okay, Shastra is saying that I am not this body. This body is Dukkalaya. Actually, it is called Vyadhi Mandira. Vyadhi Mandira. Vyadhi means disease or trouble. It is a temple of trouble, the body. It just depends on how much we experience it based on our previous karma, etc. Um, so if we have to desire either way, whether I'm having bad karma in this, experiencing bad karma, or I'm having good karma, I should just desire to get out of this body, to get out of this attachment, because this is temporary. This is not my real, this is not where I should really be. I should be in the spiritual world, and this body is just holding me back here. So I should desire. If I intensely desire and engage in bhakti, and my actions reflect this, which means that in my act, it's not that I'm simply theoretically saying, oh, I'm not this body, and then I'm attached to everything related to the body, then it's not going to help. So then we have to, our actions should also reflect this thought process, saying that I'm not this body. That is why I said devotional service is the only way, because if we are not engaged in devotional service, then we are only engaged in activities concerned with the body. Then how can we detach ourselves? Devotional service is the only platform where we are engaging in things which are not related to the body. So if that devotional service increases, then the amount of bodily engagement decreases. So there's a high chance that we can get detached, right? So the more we engage in devotional service without being attached to things of this material world, including this body, then we can actually understand and get out of this illusory connection that we have, stuck up in. That okay, Amit Prabhu?
Yeah, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay.
True,
See, we should be very confident saying that in one life we will go back to Krishna. There is no doubt about it. Irrespective of where we stand today, it just depends on how sincere and serious we are. Prabhupada just said these two qualities are required for somebody to achieve perfection in one life: sincerity and seriousness. If one is sincere and serious about devotional service, then he will achieve the destination, no doubt. Not by our own ability, because we are following instructions of acharyas, instructions of guru, and then if you are sincerely, seriously following it, then Krishna will show us.
true, this line which is written in the purport, the activities of the body or the figurative city of body are conducted automatically by its particular modes of nature. So this particular mode of nature has been acquired by the karma phala, which has been accumulated so far for that soul, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And it's called prarabdha karma. Based on our prarabdha karma, we get a body. Prarabdha karma is basically the karma which we have to enjoy or suffer in this life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Based on that, we get a body. Based on that, we get 50% sattva-guna, 20% rajoguna, 30% tamoguna, etc., etc. Right?
Yeah.
All kinds
So
of
that's
combinations.
why actually Lord has no hand in this, because it's actually our own actions which we
That's
did
correct.
at some point of time.
That's
So So basically that connection is established, that in the soul is actually living outside any purview of God, right? Until unless they are identifying only through these modes.
Sorry, I didn't get that last statement.
I mean, till the point that soul identifies with the body, then it is actually under the actions of these modes of nature, because
Yeah.
that has been accumulated, right?
No, soul is not under the actions of material nature. Body is under the actions of material nature. Soul just subjects itself to the conditions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I meant
Technically, yeah.
subjecting. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay. Is it clear for others? If you are not able to understand, kindly ask. Otherwise, I'll proceed further. Okay. Owing only to forgetfulness of his superior nature. So the soul has forgotten his superior nature. Superior nature is that he's part and parcel of Krishna. He doesn't belong to this material world. He's spiritual. He's nothing to do with material things. That is the superior nature of the soul. Owing to the forgetfulness, because we've forgotten, he identifies with the material body and therefore suffers. See, Prabhupada is so clearly saying what is the reason why people are suffering in this world? Because we just identify ourselves with the body. Like the example I gave, if I don't identify with the body, then I don't have to suffer. But this not identifying with the body requires us to be attached to devotional service. If you're not attached to devotional service, we have to be attached to something. We'll end up being attached to the body. And then even like one small scratch on the body, we cannot tolerate. And like we keep discussing multiple times, like modern civilization, we are not taught to be tolerant about anything. Everything is fast, everything is paracetamol, crocin. That's not going to help us. So we are so attached to the body that one small headache, we have to get it resolved right now. So which means that we identify ourselves so much with the body that we cannot, we cannot sustain, like we cannot tolerate even a little inconvenience to the body. So this whole modern civilization, education, everything is just made us so attached to the body that cannot, it's very difficult for us to remember our real nature. Okay, by Krishna consciousness, he can revive his real position and thus come out of this embodiment, like I said. So we have to revive our real position, and that's possible only by devotional service. Therefore, when one takes to Krishna consciousness, one at once becomes completely aloof from bodily activities. When one takes to Krishna consciousness, it becomes aloof. Like, for example, now for the last 30 minutes or so, we are engaged in Krishna consciousness. How many of us have been thinking about our body? Like actively, oh, no, something, okay, there's some pain here. Oh, I had to do this. Oh, I had to do that. Nothing. Nah? So the more we engage in Krishna consciousness with this absorption, the less we will be attached to bodily activities. So simple. In such a controlled life in which his deliberations are changed. See, this is beautiful. Deliberations are changed. It's not, nobody is saying make your deliberations zero. Deliberations means what we think about, etc., etc. And this is a controlled life. What is this controlled life? Now what people are living is uncontrolled life, because it's just on the bodily platform, driven by the senses, what I like, what I don't like. It's just uncontrolled, right? Here it is controlled, because now we are saying, okay, I'm the soul. Soul's activities are devotional service, so it's controlled. It's only in the realm of devotional service. Now my deliberations are have also changed. Now I'm not thinking so much about my body, about my pains and pleasures. I'm thinking about Krishna. I'm thinking about serving Krishna, etc. Then we live happily within the city of nine gates. Right? The nine gates are mentioned as follows: Navadvare Pure Dehi Hamso Leela Lelayate Bahi Vashi Sarvasya Lokasya Sthavarasya Charasya Cha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is living within the body of a living entity, is the controller of all living entities all over the universe. The body consists of nine gates: two eyes, two nostrils, two ears, one mouth, anus, and genitals. The living entity in his conditional stage identifies himself with the body. But when he identifies himself with the Lord within himself, he becomes just as free as the Lord even while in the body. When he identifies himself, meaning when he understands, saying that he's part and parcel of the Lord, qualitatively similar to the Lord, that means that he doesn't belong to this material world. All this suffering in the material world has nothing to do with him. He becomes just as free as the Lord. Lord is completely independent, free, nothing, not affected by material nature. So like that, we also become free, even while in the body. It's not that we have to give up this body. So mukti, liberation, doesn't mean that we have to give up the body. Mukti or liberation is the state of mind wherein we know that I have nothing to do with this body. That is mukti. Therefore, a Krishna conscious person is free from both outer and inner activities of material body. Outer activities are gross, inner activities are of that of mind and intelligence and false ego. So Krishna conscious person is free from both these because he's only engaged in activities of Krishna consciousness. Okay. Any questions? Anybody? Is it clear? Okay. Then we'll stop here because it's already 40 minutes and another words will take us another 40 minutes. So this fifth chapter is will take us little time because it's very deep. Yes, sir, no problem.
Nothing. Hare Krishna. Basically, yeah, theory wise, actually, like, yeah, it's we understood, and practically, right? Even like eye fever, it's very tough to like, even like, I could not chant also, like, so always like we'll be in bodily platform also, right? So it's
Yeah, high fever and all. See, basically, first we have to start small.
small, okay.
Small things first we should see. Okay, the way I do it now is because I have my body is sufficiently troubling me. So I try to see, for example, okay, today how less attached was I, or how less did I associate myself with the sufferings of the body. Um, Actually, this one amazing thought came to my mind saying that Ante Narayana Smriti, at the time of death, we have to think about Krishna. So I was thinking, okay, that we know that how it's very painful, that stage when we have to give up this body is very painful. Painful mostly for those who are too attached to the body, but in general, okay, it's a painful situation, like Kulashekar Alvar says. So we know that, right? Krishna Tvadiya Tava Pankaja Panjarantam अद्यैव मे विशतु मनस राजहंसा प्राणाप्रयाण समये कफवता पित्तै कंठावरोदन विदो स्मरणं कुतस्ते. So he's saying that the time of death it's very painful. All kapha, pata, pitta, vata, everything would have got aggravated. So how can I think about you at that time, Krishna? They're saying, okay, now you take my body. So I was thinking about this, saying that okay, so it's going to be painful at that point of time. Now I want to think about Krishna at the time of death. I'm very clear that at least I want to try. I don't want to come back again to this material world. So I was thinking, okay, if it's going to be so bad, then maybe my current situation is not so bad, right? I might be suffering, I might be having some pain here, there, ache here, there, etc. But can I try? Can I at least try? Maybe I will fail, but it's okay. Can I just try sincerely? So I thought, like, okay, let me try. Can I, in the middle of this pain, think about Krishna's name? So then, when I was chanting, I was trying. Okay, fine. At least two namas. I'm able to chant without getting distracted. Okay, 5 namas. Okay, 10 namas. Maybe that's it. Maybe out of 108, maybe just 10 names we were able to do without distraction. But that's good, right? So next time again similar situation is there, maybe we can try to do 15, maybe we can try to do 20, and slowly I mean, yeah, we will come to 108. Okay, prayer link, you can just look for Mukunda Mala Stotra, Kulashekar Alvar Mukunda Mala Stotra. It's available, book is available online, it's available. If you don't find it, Amit Prabhu, let me know. So we should try. I mean, it's very difficult, but we should depend on Guru Krishna and we should try. And see, that is the reason that, see, this also is a very important question actually, what Harnath Prabhu is asked. Unless we develop attachment to Krishna, we have to develop attachment to Krishna. Because see, we cannot always be on this negative platform saying, okay, I have to uh, take my mind away from my suffering. I have to tolerate my suffering. This is all negative platform. Platform is when I'm actually completely, engrossed in Krishna, thinking about Krishna, Krishna's pastimes, when all these things. Then my mind, like I said, last half an hour, how many of us really thought about our body? So if I can be in this consciousness, then there is no problem. Then I can very easily chant. Right. So it is important that we become absorbed in Krishna consciousness. And that is the reason why we need to have strong association, ongoing association. If we have good association, then we can definitely reach this platform. Right. It's absolutely a matter of practice, Prabhu. And like I said, I'm also putting baby steps only, but trying every opportunity that I get, I try. And more importantly, I'm saying more importantly, try to develop attachment, deep attachment to Krishna. That is what we have to do. And for which, how do we develop deep attachment to Krishna? We have to read Bhagavatam. That is the reason every day I'm sending some of those, important notes from Bhagavatam. The more and more we read Srimad Bhagavatam, the more and more we get attached to Krishna. So only by that we can actually overcome this bodily consciousness. Otherwise, we are stuck in bodily consciousness. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay. I guess it was a bit, we'll try to keep explaining this again and again so that we can all understand. If you could not understand and you were you didn't want to openly ask, you are more than, please feel free to ping me separately and I can try and explain. Okay, if it's not clear. Okay, so we'll end for today. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhyascha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So tomorrow 4 o'clock we'll meet for summary study of Bhagavad Gita. So we are doing what, ninth or 10th chapter we will do tomorrow. Okay, thank you so much for your time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare